Okay, we'll try that. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Well, good morning, and welcome to what we hope will be the first step toward the rebirth of an opportunity for Wisconsin farmers. Several decades ago, our state was one of the top hemp producers in the nation. Unfortunately, for nearly 60 years, farmers here have been prohibited from growing this safe, useful, and non-psychoactive crop because of its relation to marijuana. This morning, the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Small Business, and Tourism will hold a hearing on the Farm Freedom Act, a bill that Representative Jesse Kremer and I authored that would allow Wisconsin farmers to once again cultivate hemp. We hope that this hearing will clarify any misconceptions associated with hemp and demonstrate the opportunities that this crop could make available. In addition to the hearing for testimony from myself and Representative Kremer, this morning you'll hear from Farm Bureau President Jim Holt, Katie Moyer, a hemp farmer from Kentucky, and Ken Anderson, the founder of Legacy Hemp, the country's first producer of Ayahuasca certified hemp, Dr. Paul Malberg, a professor emeritus of botany from the University of Indiana, and Carol O'Connor from the Farmers Union. The message from a united agricultural community is this: we've led the nation in hemp production in the past. It's time Wisconsin lead again. At this time, I'd like to introduce Representative Kremer, who will describe the numerous uses of hemp and will lay out how our efforts here in Wisconsin intersect with current legislation at the federal level. Representative.
Thank you, Senator Testin, and thank you to all the experts who are here with us today, importers, processors, and potential growers of industrial hemp who have been working diligently over the past year to get us to the point now that the federal government is loosening regulations on industrial hemp and possibly removing it from DEA oversight, thanks to the support of one of my own congressmen, Congressman Glenn Grossman. Today is a day of hope for Wisconsin farmers and rural areas that have the potential of creating their own high-tech, family-supporting careers. Industrial hemp is a non-psychoactive commodity with a federally defined dry weight THC content of no more than 0.3%. In the early 20th century, Wisconsin was a lead grower of hemp for the War Department, and Wisconsin was the developer and manufacturer of hemp farming equipment and farm machinery. The nation now imports over $500 million in industrial hemp to produce high-tech products that are stronger than carbon fiber, replacing Kevlar in bulletproof vests, graphene for batteries, fire protective gear, hempcrete, vehicle panels, insulation, and much, much more. At a time when we are expanding new high-tech industry in our urban areas, Foxconn, for example, it is high time that we reintroduce a commodity that has the potential to grow our ag industry, create new high-tech careers, and allow Wisconsin to be a lead manufacturer of hemp products in the Midwest and nationwide. We thank Senator Moulton for hearing our Farm Freedom Act, SB 119, today, and look forward to an assembly hearing in the very near future. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Jim Holt, who is the president of the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation. Jim?
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here today to share a few thoughts about this proposed legislation. This Act S-119 and its companion AB 183 is really about returning an opportunity to Wisconsin farmers. And that opportunity is the one to again grow industrial hemp as a crop. Our history includes strong evidence that hemp can be and will have a potential to again flourish in Wisconsin. I hope we can move past the myths surrounding industrial hemp and concentrate really on the facts. And I encourage you to take the opportunity to review a recent guest columnist I penned dealing with more intricacy on this issue. And really at this time it'd be my pleasure to introduce Ken Anderson, owner of Legacy Hemp, from west central Wisconsin near Prescott.
Thanks, John. Hi, I am Ken Anderson. My company is Legacy Hemp. We are the first producers of Ayahuasca certified seed for hemp in the United States. And I'm excited that Wisconsin is getting on board with hemp production. If this bill passes, my company is ready, willing, and able to bring processing and seed production to this state next year. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do this practice in Wisconsin yet, even though I am a Wisconsin resident. We have operations in 4 other states, and I can say that we haven't witnessed any of the problems of some of the fears that are brought upon by this crop. So to be able to bring this crop back to Wisconsin, which was a leader in hemp production and definitely will be again if this bill passes, is an exciting time for us. I really appreciate the efforts of the Wisconsin legislature to actually bring this bill to the floor. Hopefully it does get to the floor. Hopefully this is the first step in the process and we get it done so that we can bring this crop back to Wisconsin farmers and processors. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Katie, who is a producer of hemp and a processor in Kentucky. Thank you.
So my name is Katie Moyer, and as Ken said, I am a processor and manufacturer of hemp products in Kentucky. In Kentucky, we have what we call Kentucky Proud, and that is products that are, the majority of those products are either grown, processed, or manufactured in Kentucky. So what we're currently producing is Kentucky Proud hemp products. So we've got a variety of things. And we've also been growing hemp in Kentucky since Congress passed a Farm Bill amendment allowing state departments of agriculture and universities to grow hemp in their respective states where hemp has been legalized. Now, we've been growing since 2014. That doesn't necessarily mean we've become experts already, but what it does mean is being, the leader of a group or the leader of a pack. That just kind of means that you're the first one to run over obstacles and roadblocks and get hit in the face with a tree limb when you're going by. So that's why I'm very honored to be here in Madison today, because I'd like to be able to share some of the experiences and some of the learning opportunities that we've had in Kentucky so that we can, not only have our Kentucky Proud products, but also, Wisconsin Proud as well. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kara O'Connor from Wisconsin Farmers Union, and on behalf of our thousands of family farm members statewide, we'd like to thank Senator Testin and Representative Kremer for bringing forward this legislation that's long overdue. As recently as World War II, Wisconsin farmers were leaders in producing industrial hemp for things like rope in the war effort. And because of a mistaken identity association with its recreational cousin, this industrial and nutritional product was pulled out of farmers' fields. And thereby farmers lost one option for their financial viability, one additional option in a crop rotation, an additional option for developing processing and value-added enterprises in rural communities. We think it's time to bring that opportunity back to Wisconsin. So we appreciate the efforts on the state level as well as on the federal level to create that opportunity for farmers and increase opportunities for new enterprises in rural communities.
So at this time, we'd like to open up to any questions that you may have, and appreciate you being here. Any questions?
A little unclear on the timeline here, what happened. So we were growing hemp legally, and then why and how did that stop? And how has it been restarted again in these other states legally?
So want to handle it?
Sure. In 2014, the Congress, in the Farm Bill, and then President Obama signed it into law that we are allowed to create pilot programs. If the state authorizes it, we're allowed to grow it now. There was, as was just recently mentioned, some confusion back in the mid-20th century that this is related to marijuana, which it is a completely different genus, a completely different plant. It got thrown under the same schedule of drugs. Wisconsin actually had a permission from the War Department, if you will, to continue growing it. They had a contract with the War Department to continue growing it for the War Department, but it got eventually taken out of the fields due to confusion, and now that's being freed up again. The other bill that's out there right now in Congress that I mentioned, Congressman Grothman, we have actually several other congressmen and women in Wisconsin who have signed on to,
would take this off of the schedule of narcotics, so the DEA would no longer have oversight over it.
And it should be noted, too, that since 2014, when the Farm Bill was passed, 31 other states have introduced industrial hemp to their states, including our neighbors in Michigan, Minnesota, and Illinois, and Indiana. So we think this is an opportunity, again, for us to lead the nation in this vital crop, because there are so many different uses for it, from textile industries to the fact that, as Representative Kremer mentioned, they're using it as replacements for Kevlar. You have car manufacturers that are using it for brake pads, insulation for homes, and then the health benefits. I mean, you can go to a grocery store and buy a fruit snack that has hemp seeds in it. And the seeds themselves have more omega-3s than a lot of fish oil. So, I mean, there's numerous different applications. And so, for us and for everyone here, we think it's just common sense to allow people and allow our hardworking farmers to diversify their portfolios and keep our egg industry moving forward.
For some of the producers from other states, how much has this caught on in terms of number of people producing it? Are there a lot of farmers growing this? And I guess, is it producing the same kind of results as selling stuff like corn or soybeans would, that farmers would potentially be replacing in their fields?
Well, I can say that in the states that we do certified seed in, it's very profitable. Our farmers are averaging, with after planting costs, production costs vary, but our farmers that do seed production for us are netting over $900 an acre, which is phenomenal compared to other aspects. If you go into the conventional grain market, it's not quite as good, but you're still going to come out between $350 and $400 an acre, over double that if you go into organic production. Really what's catching on is, right now in America, the grain market is where the market is at. And the processing and infrastructure for the stalks to be able to be processed is catching on, but that's going to take a little bit longer, because right now farmers can use the equipment they already have on the farm to plant and harvest the grain. And that's really where the market is, as far as food products are the biggest market in industrial hemp right now. And my company in the states that we're involved in, we've had over 4,000 acres in the ground this year. So it is starting to catch on. And I like to say that soybeans used to be a niche crop too, but there's over 3 million acres in Wisconsin today. So this is a crop that, for farmers, not only is it good in rotation for the soils and less inputs into the crop, but to actually have something that a farmer can be profitable in the rotation. We don't believe in monocropping anything. So putting hemp into a rotation with the conventional crops that are out there now is what we think is the best plan going forward.
Would that be more profitable than conventional crops?
Which crop? I mean,
Corn,
yeah,
soybeans.
Absolutely. Yes, without subsidies. That's the amazing thing with the industrial hemp, is we're not really looking for the people that are producing right now. We're not looking for money from the government or anything that that would be nice, but we're not looking for it. We just really need them to get out of our way, and that's what we're here for today.
Is there any way to utilize existing paper mill infrastructure for processing hemp, the infrastructure we already have?
Yes, there would be a process before that to be able to pulp it, but yes, you can use conventional equipment. Absolutely.
Is there any risk that someone could plant hemp primarily, but intersperse marijuana plants in there as a way to sneak in some?
Right, so we were actually just talking about that down in my office a little bit ago. We had done some research on that when we were working on the bill. There isn't, quite frankly. The industrial hemp would cross-pollinate with marijuana so quickly that you would no longer have a marijuana crop. I don't know if you want to expound on that and let us know what you were talking about.
Yeah, essentially what you have when you're growing for industrial hemp, you're typically growing a crop that is going to be very heavily pollinated. The males are going to pollinate very early in the crop's life cycle, and then they're going to die off quickly and allow the females to produce seed. When that happens, if there were to be any marijuana plants in the hemp field, those marijuana plants would quickly become pollinated and produce a lot of seed, which would, number one, drive down the marketing value of the marijuana, because even though it is on the black market, these folks are marketing a product that they're creating and they're bringing to their customers. So they end up with a lot of seeds, and then any of the progeny, the offspring of those seeds would be a lot lower in THC, so it wouldn't be a very good crop to, so there really isn't, from anybody who knows a thing or two about cannabis, there really isn't any reason to try to plant marijuana in a hemp field.
Better off doing it in corn. Any other questions?
The 2014 Farm Bill, my read of it is that it authorized states to run hemp research programs. This sounds like it's going far beyond a research program.
Research and marketing.
Commercialized.
Right.
Yeah. Research and marketing.
Okay, so what's your interpretation of that, and how does it authorize you to go commercial?
Sure.
So in Kentucky, we've been doing this since 2014. Our ag department contracts with private farmers to grow industrial hemp. And basically, we're not only researching the marketing, we're researching row spacing, seed density, we're researching inputs, different amounts of nitrogen, and all the different, everything from the photosynthesis sensitivity to different planting and growing techniques. And then once we actually bring the crop in, this entire process from start to finish, from planting that seed to harvesting, drying, cleaning, everything is a learning process, and it really all is research, because when we came into it, nobody, with maybe the exception of Ken, really knew what to do with the crop once it was in the ground. Essentially what we're doing is we're taking every little step from start to finish, and we're sending all the information back to the ag department in the form of research. And what that does is it gives the ag department a variety of different techniques and tests and different ways and methods of doing things, and then we can all look and see which ones are the best. It's not necessarily, it doesn't cost the ag department anything to do that, because we're contracting with private growers. The farmers are responsible and obligated for any losses of a crop due to weather or damage, and the farmer is obligated to find a buyer and make sure that he knows what he's going to do with the crop. But what it does is it gives just a very wide variety of different bits of information to send back to the ag department, and then kind of compile everything. And then as far as finished products, the manufacturing and things like that, there is a lot of test marketing going on. What the ag department wants to know is, what's the typical cost of protein powder? What's the typical cost of a gallon of seed oil? What's the typical cost of a bottle of CBD oil? All of these things are things that need to be dug into, not on the black market where prices can be crazy and inflated or completely wrong, but in the open, under a regulatory process where we can keep track of everything.
Is there anything in the Wisconsin bill that requires producers to report back to DATCAP?
DATCAP is going to create rules within this bill that they'll come up with the rules. We left that framework pretty open for DATCAP to decide how they're going to run the program.
Will UW-Madison as a land-grant university play a role in this as well with research and?
Hope so. Yeah, that's our hope.
Expect so.
Well, seeing no other questions, thank you for your time, and we'll see you at the hearing. I got one of my questions.
Did you bring these? Katie? Did you bring these? These are Katie's?
We brought those. Those you brought. We got the best one.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I find just to the west of
Senator Testin, if you want to gather everybody else,